Want to get out our neck rest because we're going to be adjusting the nut a little bit here. Most likely it's going to be just a little bit off. Let's take a look at that nut and see. Pick it up, and if you just press down ever so lightly on that first fret, take a look at that distance. Now hold down the first fret, press down on the second fret. That's really what we want to do. We want to get really close to that. We're going to make it just a little bit higher than this height here when we were holding it down on the first fret and pressing the second. Now we look back and we're a little higher. Well, let's go over each string and take a look here. It looks to me like the D and the A, definitely, and the B. The other strings look pretty good. So let's get out the nut files and make a little adjustment there. We're going to need to use the 38 file. We'll take it looked like we had the A and the D and the B, so let's go with the 38. Actually, that'll take care of our D, then the 48 for the A, and the B string we'll use the 16. B string is actually 17. Let's just start there, so we'll need to bring that down a little bit. Let's just pop that string out of there. And take your time doing this. Just go a few times. You haven't got a lot of experience at this. Just take your time. It may take quite a few times back and forth to get it. But when we do that, we'll just take a little bit of a cut. Again, press down that first fret, and then go ahead and press back here. Still just a little bit high. We're getting pretty close though. Let's just take a hair more off of that one. Because the string is a little bit wider than the file, I'm moving the file around just a little bit as I'm filing. It makes the slot just a little bit wider. And you have to be careful that the string is seating all the way down and it's not getting stuck in there. Okay, let's look at that again. Oh, that looks pretty good now, because we do want it to be a little bit higher than that next position. But I really like you to learn the feel of this as opposed to trying to use feeler gauges. They don't really work that well for this sort of thing. Now we got to go to our 38 for our D string. Now that's going to be a little different. The D string is actually a 36, or we've got a 38. Let's go ahead and just lightly, we can just bring that straight down. Once again, just a little bit. And then let's check it. Pick it up. Take a look at that. Well, that one's just about right there. I think we got that one right. Okay. So now we got to do the A string. We'll use the 48. Once again, a little bit wider than the actual string itself. So we'll just go straight down, just a little bit. Check it. Like I say, this could take a while. Don't be afraid to pick the guitar up and down maybe 8-10 times to do this, because you can always cut a little more, but you can't put anything back. So let's just take a tiny bit more off of that. Might want to blow some of that dust out of there. Okay, let's look at that. Now that looks pretty good. Okay. Now that we've got the nut where we want it, let's go ahead and tune it back up to pitch again and see if we have it where we like it. Let's get that tuning fork out. That's pretty close. Okay, now she's in tune. Now we want to go ahead and check that action one more time. We've adjusted it back here. It's going to be a little higher than what we had initially set it at. We had set it at a 16th, but we had the capo on there. And 5/64ths here. And the reason that we did that is we expected it to be a little bit higher, which it is. Now we're up more like 5/64ths to almost 3/32, which is a really nice height for a jazz guitar. So let's go with that. Now the action looks good. Now all we need to do is make an adjustment on the pickup here. And on a jazz guitar like this, about 1/8 of an inch when you just hold the strings down here at the back of the neck. And on the high side, I like to be just a little bit under 1/8 of an inch, and on the low side, just a little bit over 1/8 of an inch. And as it looks here, I'm pretty close. I've got to bring that pickup up just a little bit here. For this, we'll use our small slotted screwdriver, because this particular pickup has a slotted screw. Bring that up a little bit. It feels good. Pick that up. Let's take a look. And we're holding those strings down right here so that you can get the same read. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now what we're going to do is just make a rough adjustment on the pull pieces. Typically the B and the G are going to be out of sync because the B string is a much thicker piece of solid steel than what's inside this G. This is a preference thing, so you can mess around with this quite a bit yourself. Typically, right off the top, we'll just drop that B down and we'll bring that G up. A couple of turns each, and then just maybe a turn on that D. Bring that low E just down a hair. And we've readjusted the pull pieces now just a little bit. Hopefully we'll get a little better balance. This is something you can mess around with when it's plugged in, and some people have a preference. They want a little more meat on their low strings, or maybe they want a little more bite on the high strings. This is something you can play around with, and you don't have to worry about messing them up. You can turn those back and forth many times. So that should be pretty much it. Let's just take a listen and see how it sounds and how it feels here. Plug it in and make sure everything works. You might want to spend some time just going over every fret on the guitar. It tells you, you may have a situation where you have a low fret or something. This would be something you might have to take to your local luthier to take care of. But if you can run up and down like I just did there, that string was fine. Go over each string, every single fret, make sure that all the notes are there, and then after that, just play it and see if it feels good to you. Let's just check that tuning one more time. Tone control works, volume works, time to play it.